Now, about 20 people are going to brave the slopes of Kilimanjaro for the sake of kids. They will be climbing Kilimanjaro to raise money to build a library at Qhobosheane Primary School in Soweto. This is in partnership with the Adopt a School Foundation, and we're now joined by Cassandra Pireu-Pilossof, the fundraising officer of the Adopt a School Foundation. Great to have you with us. So you are climbing as well. Have you been training very, very hard, I'm sure?
No, not as hard as I'd like to.
So this kicks off soon, so it's March.
Yes, so 2 weeks from this Sunday, that's when we leave and we'll start climbing.
And who's involved? Who are the climbers besides yourself?
So this is really a partnership between Adopt a School Foundation, one of our donors, Flight Centre Foundation, and it was open to the public. Whoever wanted to join can join and climb Kilimanjaro. The fundraising came in terms of each climber is responsible for leveraging off of the climb and raising funds towards the construction of a library that's fully resourced and includes librarian training through Adopt a School Foundation. And this includes climbers from Flight Centre Foundation, quite a few, some people from Australia, from Canada, from across South Africa, as well as from myself from Adopt a School Foundation.
That's interesting. So international people are supporting a school in Soweto?
Yes.
How much money will be raised if you all make it to the top?
So our target is 1.4 million rand.
Sure. Okay. Yes. So Qhobosheane Primary School, have you seen the facilities? Explain what's there right now, because like we were saying earlier, it's incredible that we're talking about iPads for all kids in South Africa, but some don't even have a library.
Yes. So Qhobosheane, it's a school that we've worked in for a number of years. It's a fairly well-resourced school in terms of the rest of our schools. So we talk about a library being a basic need here, but for us, a library is actually quite a specialised need, and quite a specialised facility. So when Adopt a School Foundation goes into schools, we work in quintile 1, 2, 3 schools, which are non-fee paying schools, and they are the most marginalised schools across the country in rural and township communities. And our focus initially is on fulfilling very basic needs in that school. So the ablution facility, the classrooms, health and sanitation projects, social welfare projects, curriculum projects, and only once those basic needs are fulfilled can we move on to more specialised needs, such as a library and a computer centre, for example.
Okay, so you need the toilets in place first before you move to a library. Do these kids have access to any books at the moment?
They do have access to some books. So the books are currently being stored in a storeroom. It's not very conducive to creating a culture of reading for the love of reading. And it's not conducive to taking books out and having learners go through the books and choosing their own books, and providing a safe space where they can read and research.
So 1.4 million, I think you said, that'll create an incredible library, or do you now allocate funds to other schools? I mean, that could build a whole school, I'm sure. I'm not exactly sure, but I think.
So when we build a facility like a library, we won't just build the library, because if we did that and we walked away, then we run the risk that it's not a sustainable facility and it's not utilised properly. So as part of that is the construction from ground up of the library. It's fully resourcing it from scratch with books. And it's also putting in the library management systems in place to make it a functional library and to train educators on how to incorporate the library into the curriculum.
Explain Adopt a School as a whole. So you obviously started with a vision in mind. What do you hope to achieve, and what has been done so far?
So Adopt a School, as we're an NGO that we specialise in education. We have 497 schools that we support across the country in Lesotho and in Mozambique. And as I mentioned, we work in some of the most marginalised, disadvantaged schools in the country. And we partner, because we're completely donor-driven, we partner with companies like Flight Centre Foundation to provide financial support, and then we go in. We've got a range of in-house expertise that range from engineers to quantity surveyors, social workers, curriculum experts, and we implement whole school development. And whole school development looks at everything that we need to provide quality education to our learners. So it's social welfare, curriculum, leadership of the school management, as well as infrastructure development in schools.
And what would you say, maybe there's South Africans out there thinking, I'd like to get involved, but there's a debate, you know, is government doing its job? We just had the budget. Education always gets the lion's share, but not enough materializing for that money. Or is this the right way to go, those public-private partnerships that we always talk about?
So we firmly believe in, you know, a combination. So we work very closely with all the departments. Everything that we do is in line with the Department of Basic Education, and we don't implement any projects without them knowing that we are implementing their projects and getting their buy-in in their schools.
And
so
they're
that's
supportive as well.
Yes, so that's we've got support from local level all the way to national level in terms of the Department of Basic Education. And it's an interesting question in terms of whose responsibility it is, because you know, the reality in our schools is many of our schools, especially the schools that we work in, were built many years ago, and they were not built to be spaces that promoted quality education. They were not built to last. So the government is now not just trying to maintain facilities and keep up with population growth, but we also now need to go back and we need to address the issues of poorly built, poorly resourced and poorly capacitated facilities. So that's where it's tricky, and that's where it's really hard for government to go backwards and keep up with the current trend. So that's where, if we want to speedline this and we want to see improvements in education quickly and impacting learners today, we need the partnerships between government, we need the partnerships between private companies, private individuals and experts in the field.
All right, well, a very worthy cause, and come down safely from Kilimanjaro. That climb set to happen in March. That was Cassandra Pireu-Pilossof, the fundraising officer at the Adopt a School Foundation.